Hi folks, what we're looking at is a PVC tripod that I figured out and I made. And my old tripod that I had for 35 years broke. One of the legs broke on it, and I'm using it now, but I have to have it on a table in order to use it. And it can't be fixed. One of the parts, I was using it at the marina and it fell apart and it just blew into the water, so I can't even get it. So I decided I'd make a tripod. I went online to see about making one, and I couldn't find anything that I thought was good. Most of them are monopods and not a true tripod. And there is one video that I found on YouTube of a tripod, but it looks difficult to make and need all kinds of tools and stuff to do it. So I wanted something that used standard parts and was easy to make and would work well, and this is what I came up with. I made it so that it would be extremely adjustable. Those legs, you can see they're adjustable, and also the neck is adjustable, and that camera up there is way up there. That's about 7.5 feet tall. Now the closer it is to the base, the more steady it is, but there are times when having a really tall tripod could be a useful thing. This is also adjustable. This can be aimed up or down, or you can swivel any direction you want. So it's got all kinds of adjustability, and this is kind of like a quick release, which could come in handy. It's got a little, this part here can be like a little handle. So it's got all kinds of adjustments. So here I've got the whole thing completely disassembled, and I also have added, this is another one that I made, but I made a mistake while I was making the video, so I wanted to redo the video. But these are the parts that will need to be glued together or cemented together. And I did kind of a sloppy job here, but so all the T's and elbows for the base of the tripod itself will need to get cemented together, or they should be, and that's the only part that needs to be cemented. So anyway, what you need is two 10-foot lengths of PVC. This is 1/2 inch schedule 40 PVC, and then this is thin-walled PVC. It's thin-walled compared to the 1/2 inch because it needs to slide in and out, so that you'll have those extensions on the legs and on the neck. So you need two different kinds of PVC, and both those the 10-foot lengths will cost about $5 each. Then I've got 3 slip tees, 3/4 inch schedule 40 slip tees. I've got 3 schedule 40 slip elbows. I've got 1/2 inch to 3/4 slip elbow. I have 1/2 inch slip elbow. This is a schedule 40 PVC 3/4 inch cap, and I have a screw in it so that I can screw on my camera to it. And this is a standard camera size. It's a 1/4 inch, 20 threads per inch, and this particular screw is a 1/2 inch long, and I drilled a hole in this and put the screw in, to about the length I thought looked right on this side. So, and then of course I have 5 1 1 1/4 inch 3/4 PVC, and of course I'm using the thin walled stuff. Then here's one small piece of the 1/2 inch stuff that also I used. And then over there you have 4 pipe clamps, and all this stuff together might cost you $20 or so. So here I'm just doing a close-up on what I bought for the camera mount screw. Okay, now here you can see that there's slots cut on that PVC. This is on the 3/4 inch PVC, the thin walled stuff, and the reason for that is I can use the pipe clamps and then compress down onto this, and that'll hold it in place when those pipe clamps are on there. And there is one other thing that you need, and that's PVC cement. Now if you don't have this kind of cement, this costs $5. If you have something else like Gorilla Glue or something, it'd work. But I bought this and it's $5, so it makes this project a little bit more expensive. Next step is to dry fit this together, and the best way I think is to start out with these T's and putting them together. Now all I'm going to do here is just eyeball these angles until I got them at 1/3. And so that's pretty darn close, but it isn't critical that it be perfect, but of course you want to have it as good as you can make it. And the next part is to dry fit the elbows on here, and then once we get these on here, we can fine tune it so that it'll stand up perfectly vertically, or at least pretty darn close. So you want to start out by just dry fitting it like this. Now the next step is to put your legs into the elbows, and you probably notice that each one of these legs is shorter than the one before it, and the reason for that is to accommodate for the length we got here. So this one's 23, this one here is 20, and this one here is 17 inches. And put them in there, and then you got to sight it on something that looks pretty straight and spin it. Now this room here is it's good paneling, so it's easy to do it because the paneling is straight up and down, and you may need to work at this for a couple of minutes. It shouldn't really take all that long. Once you get it just about where you think it's just about right, then you can take a Sharpie and make marks on here. So once you got it to where it's pretty much straight up and down, make marks on your PVC, so that on your fittings, so that you know where to reassemble it, and using 3 marks here, 1 mark here. I got 2 marks here, and I'm going to put 2 marks here. And that way, when I glue it together, I can just use my marks. And these are the only parts that get glued. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 glue fittings, and the rest of it, it only gets dry fit and used that way. So somebody's bound to ask me, so I'm just going to throw this in. This angle is about 60 degrees. But when you're putting it together, you don't have to worry about angles too much, but some people might be wondering, so that's what it is. It's 60 degrees. So the next part here is to glue all these pieces together, and it's probably best if you double check your marks so you know which ones to do. And when you're doing this, you gotta move fast, because this stuff grabs very, very quickly. So you really need to move quickly, because if you wait more than about 10 or 15 seconds, it'll be pretty much impossible to change it. So just glue your pieces together, and you don't need to use cleaner or anything like that. This only has to hold, it only has to hold this together. It doesn't have to be waterproof or anything crazy like that. And you don't need a lot of this stuff. That part done, and next it doesn't take long to do this. And after you're done with this, you can just probably let it dry for a little bit. So it really isn't very complicated. And this is the next one I need. So I'm just going to let that dry for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll reassemble it. So now we can just put this thing together, and it's not hard to do it since it's all glued together. This part here, this part of the neck is 8 inches long. It can be any length that you think is right. And do need a screwdriver in order to tighten up these pipe clamps once you've made it. And while we're on the subject of tools, you could use a PVC cutter for this, or you could use a saw. And in my personal opinion, using a saw is better, because this thin wall PVC is it's a little bit flimsy, and when you use the pipe cutter, it wants to compress the PVC, which is not really desirable. Obviously, if you're moving around with this thing, you wouldn't necessarily take it apart to this extent. You leave these legs in here. These leg extensions. And then you wouldn't have as much to do as I'm doing right now. This part, put the 1/2 inch in here, put this here, pop this on here, and then finally put this on here. So it doesn't take long to assemble it once it's glued together. Now, it should take you, this took me, when I first did it, when I first figured it out and first made it, it took me probably 2.5 hours, because I had to figure out how I was going to do it and everything. But once you have all the stuff, which you can get at Lowe's or Home Depot or any other general home improvement type store, then it shouldn't take it that long to make it, and it's all completely adjustable, and this is kind of like a quick release. So that's my idea. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching. Put a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and just have a great day. Thanks for watching.